Hello and welcome. What's the name of our podcast?
Oh gosh, man! I would just be like super enthusiastic and be like, "Hey, welcome to our podcast, The Peartree."
Welcome to Podcast in a Peartree. I'm Aaron Lee, and I have a PhD in Christmas from Frosty the Snowman University in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm here with my Christmas cohort, Danielle and Samantha. Samantha, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Samantha, and I have a PhD in holiday decorative arts and design from Yuletide University in Evergreen, Colorado. Yuletide.
Woohoo, Danielle.
Woohoo! Yeah, my name's Danielle. I am a postdoc researcher in merriment. I have a fellowship, so that means I can do whatever I want.
Nice.
Yes.
I love it.
Well, we're here to talk in our first episode about the lovely Hallmark film, Next Stop Christmas. Really, really enjoyed this one, guys. How about you?
I was surprised at how much I did enjoy it. I had some expectations because of the Back to the Future element, which we'll get to.
Yes.
So great.
Lloyd and Leah Thompson. So I did enjoy, and it filled all of my holiday wishes.
Yeah, some things were expected, it felt formulaic, but then some things were like, oh, that's a little different. Okay, I like that. I could go for that.
Well, let's give the folks at home a little synopsis about the film. Next Stop Christmas is about a young yet accomplished neurosurgeon named Angie Reynolds, who's played by Lindsay Fonseca. And after finishing a surgery in mid-December, she wants nothing more than to just go home and relax. But life gets in the way. Her family calls, lays on a guilt trip, trying to get her to come home for Christmas. Her coworkers want her to go out for drinks, yada, yada. You know the drill. She finally goes out for drinks, and who do you think she meets in the bar? A blast from her past, a family friend from back home.
I have to just dive right in here.
Dive in.
When she reconnects with her blast from the past, and then she, has to catch her train back to her apartment, her friend that she's with is like, you know what, I'll get a drink with you. After he asked her if she wants to get a drink, she's like, no, I got to go home. I got to catch my train. And her friend's like, I'm up for it. And then hangs out with him and his friends. Anyways, I digress. But so after that, she goes to Grand Central train station because this takes place in Manhattan. And she meets a very special magical man when she's buying her train ticket. And he sells her this ticket to get on this train, back to Yonkers, where she's going, where she lives. And it's actually taking her back to 2011 to her hometown.
Let's just call it out. She meets basically like the Doc from Back to the Future.
She meets Doc Brown.
She meets Doc Brown. Yeah,
an older, less kooky Doc Brown.
Is he really that much less kooky?
Cryptic. I love it about it. And also things to sprinkle in addition to meeting the blast from the past Ben, by the way, we also see all of these posters and the broadcast of her former flame, Tyler Grant. First and last name, Tyler Grant.
I don't know super famous
sportscaster. I don't even remember anybody else's last names except for his because they said it so many times.
I think it's because he's on the news. You know how you always have to say first and last names of people that are on TV like that? I don't know that. Maybe that's why.
This is too logical, Samantha. Let's go with my lack
This is Hallmark Channel. Yeah. Logic gets thrown out the window.
Yes, that is one of the Hallmark rules. So they are on the train thinking she's going to Yonkers, but then she, like many people, if you're from the city and you are in public transportation and you have a long ride ahead, you take a nap, you close your eyes, and you're like, it's gonna be fine, even though it's probably unsafe because she is by herself and on public transportation. But whatever, again, logic goes out the window. So she closes her eyes.
I just want to say about this real quick. I was so jealous because she closed her eyes and was asleep in a hot second.
I know.
I wish I could do that. She was like,
very
boom,
true.
Boom.
She must have been real tired after that surgery in the hospital.
That surgery was exhausting. Those things can last 12, 13 hours.
Well, let's face it. She went and had a holiday drink too. So
this It's true. The combination just set the stage for a complete conk out on the train. And she just, at that point, she didn't even question the fact that, oh, I have this golden ticket that no one else has. Like,
she thought it was a holiday promotion.
Yeah.
And the guy who was checking the ticket was like, yeah, I guess so. No one told me about
they didn't
it.
tell us. I'm like, that's important information, sir. You need to know what the tickets look like.
So she goes to sleep, she wakes up, and then all of a sudden the train looks different. She's with Tyler Grant, and she's just confused, of course. And then she starts to realize that she's not on the same train she boarded.
I know. She's on a train with special Christmas donuts.
And
Yes.
I also want to
decoration.
get on a train with special Christmas donuts.
All of a sudden it transformed and it was like holiday decorations everywhere. There were presents up on the top where you put your luggage. Like, what kind of Christmas train is this? Then when she goes into the dining car and sees Christopher Lloyd, and then he's having like Santa Claus donuts, like
Oh,
Oh yeah, I just realized we never learned his name. He's just like mysterious character. So I'm just gonna refer to him as Doc Brown. So
Okay.
Doc Brown, she meets up with Doc Brown, and she's like trying to figure out what's going on. He's like, you want to go back home, and then she pulls out her ticket, and half of her ticket is missing. And he's like, well, you can't get home until you get that return ticket. She's like, what? She tries to figure out what the heck is happening, and she starts to realize that she's gone back in time. It's 2011, and so now she's on her way also to Connecticut, which is where her home is and her family. And here she is, blast from the past, Christmas happening right now. And it goes, they're a family gathering, and she's trying to figure out how she can get home and trying to figure out what decisions she has to make to, I guess, redo this Christmas. I don't know how quickly she like recognized that, but
yeah, it's kind of like the classic Groundhog Day type scenario here, where she's got to figure out what she has to fix from her past. And there's so many things that she might have to fix. She might have to say yes to Tyler Grant's proposal. She might have to get her mom and dad back together because this was the Christmas where they started drifting apart. Or she might have to do something for herself and find her own true love.
Ooh,
foreshadowing.
These are all the things.
All the things.
In the beginning, she's like, all I want this year is just a nice, quiet Christmas alone. And I was like, who wants that? Even if I didn't want to see my family, I'm not going to be spending Christmas by myself. Like, that's the weirdest thing ever, but whatever. One thing that Doc Brown did say to her when she bought that ticket, he was like, well, Christmas finds you wherever you are. And he was being like really mysterious. So I like that aspect of it. He's planting a lot of magic, and she was just like really weirded out by all of it.
I have a personal share for you too. Christmas has found me.
It's found me too.
because of this movie?
Not because of this movie, but it takes a different amount of time each year. Sometimes Christmas finds me really early, and it's like Halloween's over and I'm in it.
Yeah.
This year it took a while, but it's found me. I'm there. I'm there for Christmas.
Me too. I usually get there Thanksgiving weekend if I'm not already there. This is the weekend it happens.
Yeah, it's a good time. So our heroine, Angie, keeps trying to figure out what she needs to fix in her family's lives, and she keeps falling asleep and ending up back on the train.
Did you guys like the magic of half the tickets disappearing? It almost reminded me of Back to the Future 2, where the almanac kept changing and stuff. I don't know. I felt like there was a lot of
or
nods
Back to the Future 1. Yeah.
Oh,
or
the
Back
photo.
To the Future
Yeah.
1 where
Yes.
the photo keeps. Yeah.
The photo of the siblings.
I felt
like
like
the
there was
idea,
a lot of
not the execution. It didn't
Right.
look good.
I just thought there was a lot of little nods to Back to the Future, and I really liked that.
I did like the whole so at some point I realized we didn't talk about this, but in the current time, she and Tyler are not together. And then she has her friend, Ben, who he turns into a corporate lawyer, and she thought he'd always practice family law. And then her parents are not together. And so now she's back in 2011, and there's an opportunity here to undo all of these things. And so, of course, she runs into Ben again, and he's Santa and is kind of nerdy, still trying to figure out she's still in medical school, all of these things, which is pretty powerful. But I love how there's a part where she's like, I have to tell somebody. Because I'm circling it back. It's going to come back to this Back to the Future reference. And she's like, okay, I can tell Ben. And she goes to Ben. She's like, I am from the future. And I was like, yes, clear reference.
So
Thank
good.
you.
So good. I loved it. And then he came back with a Terminator reference, didn't
He did. He did. I love that. I was like, see, this is who you're supposed to be with. Because his response was another movie reference. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
That's true love. That's true love.
True love. How she didn't know right away, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. It took her forever. He was so deep into the friend zone that she could never dig him out. Like, it was so ridiculous.
What's it got to do? Once you're in the friend zone, it's hard to dig yourself out.
I know, it really is, but it was like every single person in her family had to tell her. It was like so ridiculous.
So sad. I mean, she got to that point where like when Tyler was supposed to propose to her and then he didn't, and so she's like, something must be wrong. Oh, it's because now he's threatened by you, Ben, so I need to find you a fake girlfriend so he's not like. I'm like, what are you doing?
I'm so glad you brought up Chloe, the fake girlfriend, because I have to say, I loved this actress. I thought she did a great job in this role. Her job was to be annoying, and she did such a good job. I want to watch some other things that she's done maybe and see if she's always annoying. Allie Trim is her name. Allie Trim.
Are you annoying, Allie, or are you
Allie, are you annoying yourself, or did you do a good job?
I'm glad you said that, because I was annoyed by her. So I guess she did her job. Like, I was very annoyed.
Getting back to Tyler Grant, didn't you feel that the casting was perfect? I thought he was cute enough to be believable. He was cute enough to be believable as her boyfriend, but also douchey enough to be on the news and like that sort of aspect of it. I thought the casting for him was perfect.
I agree. I thought he was very well cast.
Yeah.
I have to say, I did not love Chandler Massey as Ben Lee. I just didn't buy him in the role.
Interesting.
And I like to recast the movies sometimes, like say, oh, they should have switched roles.
Yes.
And I think this is a case where the brother-in-law, who was played by Nicholas Delaney, and Chandler Massey should have switched roles.
I feel that. I'm down with that idea. That could have been really good.
I think it would have been really good for Nicholas Delaney, and then Chandler Massey just would have had a smaller part, thank goodness.
Oh, now that you mention it, that actor was a little underrated in that storyline. Of the 3 parallel storylines, I feel like the sister dynamic was probably like they just threw that in there.
Yes.
And so as a result, like the sister and her husband and the son were super minor characters, but there could have been also more there. But it's just there's too many, that and the parent dynamic. There are just too many things that were going to be happening.
I agree, but the thing that really stuck out about Nicholas Delaney's performance for me was the fact that he was just such a caregiver to his wife and to his son. Like
So
that
solid.
was his one true goal, was just to be there and to be the best dad and father he could be. And I loved that. That's what I'm looking for in a Hallmark movie or a Christmas movie. It's just somebody who's there to be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
That was deep, Aaron Lee.
I just got deep.
That was really deep. That was really deep. Underrated. So we could recast Ben. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think Ben was cool, but I think it could have been probably anybody else. He was kind of like the actor himself. The character was unique, but the actor could have been pretty much anyone.
I mean, I knew it when he first appeared on screen because he touched his glasses twice in 25 seconds. I'm like,
oh man,
you
don't touch your glasses that much.
No, but I did like that they added glasses because I felt it made him look cuter when he was older, and it changed him a little bit. But that role could have been. I mean, that could have been Chad Michael Murray. It could have been, it could have been like somebody else too. Like just a nice guy finishing last, but then in the end gets the girl. I agree, Aaron Lee.
Let's talk about the ages here, because this is something that really kind of stuck out to me. We're talking about 2011 and 2021. And in 2021, Chandler Massey's a corporate attorney and Lindsay Fonseca's a neurosurgeon. It takes a long time to get to those jobs. And they are too young. These actors are in their early 30s. They're really too young to be a neurosurgeon and a top-notch corporate attorney at this point. Yet, if we look at 10 years ago, when they're still in med school and still trying to get to law school, they're way too old. You needed to find people who were in their 40s or in their early 20s for this. Why did we cut the difference? They don't look right in either time frame.
They don't.
Oh,
I was okay with it. I don't know why.
it's because of the defying logic thing. You just believe it.
That's true. We just believe it.
This
It
goes out
defies
the
logic.
window.
They
But I
say
will
it, so
say-
it must be true.
I will say though, they did a good job of their props for 2011. Like I looked up the cell phone she used. That was an iPhone 4S.
Wow.
Oh, you are devoted.
Because I was
Wow.
like, wait a minute, is that an
Wow.
iPhone 8 or what is she using? Because she was kept referencing how old her phone was. And then Tyler Grant was also using a flip phone. So I thought that was good. And then the family kept taking photos with those giant iPads, like the first generation
Yes.
iPads that are like gigantic. So I
And
thought
it was
that
an
was
early
really
Christmas
good.
present.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
subtle.
So I
Who
bought
noticed?
into the 2011 technology.
That makes me feel sad because I have an iPhone 8. So I
No,
have
but it
20.
looks, that's the thing, Danielle. It looks just like your phone. And so I was like, wait, did they do the phone properly? I need to look up the technology. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's an iPhone 4. Because it looks like your phone, but smaller.
Yes. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
So can we get into the biggest name in this besides Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson?
Lee
as the
Thompson.
mom?
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Leah
Aw.
Thompson?
Oh my
It
gosh.
was so great.
Do you think that they had to tell her that she needed to be like a, like a cheesy downtrodden mom, because like she's a very serious actress, like in the 80s, like a really big name, and I felt like she was like one of those cheesy Hallmark actresses. Like she played that part really well.
She did. She like ran with it, and there was no looking back. I was proud of her for that, and it was just like I connected. I felt it was genuine, especially because her husband was drifting away, and she was just trying to deal with that in 2011. Just so beautiful. I felt it. I
Oh
felt
my
it.
gosh. And can we just like talk about the husband, for instance? Like
Oh,
I couldn't believe it. He was like, I'm really into my magazines, don't even want to sit next to my wife. I like to go out. She likes to stay in. I was like, what is going on in their marriage? Like, is he, got some sort of woman from Scottsdale?
Yeah, he likes to go out. I mean, I know it's Hallmark, but he likes to go out.
He likes to go out. They
You
do
know what
their
going out
errands
means.
separately. They don't chat anymore. They had a really hard time with their empty nesting after all the kids left. Like, there's a lot going on in that relationship.
There is a lot going on in that relationship. And that was kind of fun, to see Lindsay come back and try and fix that, try and coax her dad over to the couch to sit with her mom.
Yeah, and I love how they recreated the way they met at that party.
Yeah.
So cute.
That was
Who
so
knew
adorable.
you could dodge a divorce with a red dress? That's all it took.
That's the name of your next novel, Samantha. Dodge a divorce with a red dress.
That's all it
And
takes.
some really old carolers, apparently.
Okay. Let's talk about the carolers. Those were Dickensian carolers, not Victorian carol. What the hell is a Victorian caroler?
You tell me.
I don't know. They're Dickensian. I don't. Come on, people.
Small details. It's a Hallmark film.
Small details. You want me to go small details? How about this? That 4-year-old can read the sign Santa's Workshop from 35 yards away.
Good point. The kid
That
that kid was like on top of things, honestly. Like he could be like really sad and like, oh, I want a sibling. Like very like serious kid, but at the same time balancing with trying to not be like superficial. It was interesting kid.
I wish they would have gotten into what they did for a living, because like, did you see their house? Like how gigantic it was?
And there were a lot of Christmas wreaths. And I'll tell you something,
Exactly.
Christmas wreaths are not cheap.
Oh, and every
And
tree
they had
was
one in
decorated.
every single window. And they also had them lit up. How did they get that many outlets?
I don't know, but that's why the dad had to go out there and like fix some stuff. He seemed really like wholesome and into his family back then. So like the way he was drifting away from that family, I'm like,
What's going on?
Who is doing the decorations now that he's gone? Good thing they're back together.
I will say when the dad at some point in 2011 was climbing up on the rooftop, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Are we going to introduce a really dangerous dynamic here? Is he going to fall off the roof or something? Thankfully, they didn't go that route, but I was ready for it.
It's a Hallmark movie. You never know what route they're going to take. They go there sometimes.
Yeah, that could have been like a whole head injury with a memory thing that we don't even know about.
Oh, yeah. And then we really would have had a Back to the Future original moment. So like
when he fell off his
effect.
toilet, inventing the flux capacitor.
Or that. I was thinking more so the Leah Thompson's character, like falling in love with her husband, his dad.
Oh, I love that. What did you guys think of Aunt Mert? Also, what is that name?
Mert?
Yeah.
That's, well, I'm guessing it's short for Myrtle.
I hope so, because I'm like,
how did you know that? Did you look that up?
It's a name of yore.
Oh.
Not many kids named Myrtle anymore.
No.
I hate to say it, the best I can say about Aunt Mert is forgettable.
Really? I felt like she was like
okay,
going hard on Tyler Grant. She was like, yeah, he's on his phone. You should marry your best friend. What are you doing?
You know what? We also need to talk about one of our other rules about a Hallmark Christmas movie is there's a tree lighting. They have a tree lighting in this, but it was just the star on top of the tree.
I know, how weird.
You're supposed to light up the whole tree. I don't want to show up in the town square with the snow coming down and see a fully lit tree and watch the star turn on.
I know,
unless
that's
the
weird.
Star has sparklers and fireworks.
Which sounds very dangerous near a tree.
It does, because that's a tree. It's wood. It's just kindling.
I thought that was weird
turning
too.
From a star lighting to a Christmas bonfire, which I am not against a Christmas bonfire. That could be fun.
Yes.
That would be one of those radical Hallmark movies. Christmas bonfire in lieu of a tree lighting. I mean, did they call it though a tree lighting or did they call it something else?
No, they called it the star lighting.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
We're just saying that's weird. Why is that like a thing in their town?
Just own it. It's a Christmas tree lighting. Go to the town square and light up the Christmas tree.
It's very true.
So one of our other rules is that there has to be a snowball fight. Snowball fights are mandatory, and we did have a snowball fight.
Kinda, yeah.
Movie.
Yeah.
And it was a snowball fight with a twist. And I have to say, I loved this twist. I thought this was adorable. Tyler Grant proposed to Angie by putting the ring in a snowball and throwing it at her. Cute or sick?
Cute. I think that's a great idea.
Very
I think
cute.
more men should do that.
It was a really large box, I will say, though, because I was like, that is a huge box in that snowball. But, you know, logic out the window.
Logic out the window, but worth it in this case because it was really adorable and something I haven't seen.
I haven't seen it either. And I also love that she got punked on thinking that he was going to do the champagne glass thing again and he didn't do it. And then she was really weirded out and then he did it with the snowball. So I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
It was a twist for her and a twist for me.
What do we think about like the whole sister dynamic?
Well, I thought it was weird in the beginning when anytime anybody wanted to change the subject, they brought up like, oh, how's your sister doing with that adoption thing? Like, oh, but it's like
that's your go-to get out of this.
This is my transition out of this conversation, talking about your sister's fertility. Like, what's going on? It was a added storyline, but I felt like they kept bringing it up like a million times. Even like you said, Danielle, they made the child even bring it up. Like, I want a little brother or sister.
Yeah, it was so, and thankfully in the end it ended up working out in the corrected timeline. They have an adopted niece, which is beautiful.
Well, it's all because Ben became a family attorney instead of a corporate attorney and was able to cut through the red tape for them.
Going to the movie rules, that someone leaves the big city for the small town and doesn't come back. Technically, Angie goes back to the city and she's still in the city and with Ben. At the
With
end of the
Ben
movie.
in the city, yeah.
Yeah,
It
they're in
did
the
not
city.
adhere to the rule. That see, we talked
That's
about this movie
true.
breaking some of the rules.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the exception. They both went back to the city together.
Who besides me noticed at Aunt Mart's party, Angie was wearing a burgundy dress and Ben was wearing like a burgundy sweater vest. They had the same color on.
Oh,
Whoa.
no.
I need
That's
to go
twisty.
back and look at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I really
didn't-
like that. I was too focused on Leah Thompson's dress.
Yeah. Right. Her wearing the dress from when she first met her husband, that red dress.
I was also surprised that she can still fit in that dress. I mean, who could fit into the clothes that they wore 10 years ago?
She's timeless. That's why.
It's not
She's
even 10
timeless.
years ago, because it was 10 years ago.
Oh, it was like 30 years ago.
40
Yeah.
years
She's
ago.
timeless. Yes,
She
yes.
is timeless, though.
She defies the time and whatnot.
She does defy the time. Did that dress defy the time? Was that dress in style 40 years ago?
I think it was cutting edge.
Yeah, I think that was a timeless look.
Okay, let's just comment on all the fashion that's happening in this movie. My mom was paying attention and she was like, I really like her sweater, Angie. She's like, I want one like that. And I was like, you want that for Christmas? Okay. Yeah, I want also the jacket she's wearing. It's green, but I want it in red. I was like, okay.
This is honestly a missed opportunity for Hallmark because they have hardcore fans. They should have a catalog where you can buy everything you see in these
True.
movies.
That's
oh my
so
God,
true.
you're so right.
That's
Is it
so
because
true.
they
I like-
have that thing with Balsam Hill?
They do have a thing with Balsam Hill, clearly, and I want all of Balsam Hill. They should just bring their warehouse to my apartment.
Yeah.
And I'll invite you over, Samantha, to create beauty and Christmas
Nothing
feelings.
would thrill me more, honestly. I'll take a day off. I'll take a weekend off to do that for you.
I love it. They only do decor though, right? They don't do attire.
Balsam Hill doesn't do attire.
No.
And Hallmark does do, if you look at some of their older movies, when they propose and they open up the box, you'll notice that it says Hallmark. So they do have a jewelry line,
Oh.
or at
Oh,
least they
cool.
did at one point.
Speaking of boxes, jewelry boxes, what'd you guys
Oh,
think about
yes.
Frosty the Snowman box?
There was a
How
note.
did she not see that note? Where did he put it? Like inside the lining? Like where did he
Well,
put
apparently
that
the
note?
sister really paid attention because she's the one who found it.
Like I was so weirded out by that. Like
It's
why
like,
did
why
Right,
why
like
did
if
she
you
not
want
find
somebody
that?
to find it, you don't put it inside the lining.
That's what I'm saying. How did she not read that note?
And let me just make this assumption like many years later that you did read it and you decided to reject my feelings.
Did you guys catch when Tyler Grant asked her if she dated Ben before and she said, oh, no. And then all of a sudden they're like, outside talking about their past relationship and why it didn't work. I was like, oh, she totally lied to Tyler Grant.
She is trying to just spin it at this point or at that point. So convinced that she was not meant to be with Ben.
Right.
So
Like he was so
convinced.
far in the friend zone, it's like not even worth mentioning that they tried to date and it didn't work.
But at the end of the movie, in that last like 10 minutes, she came to terms real quick. She's like, oh, yes, it's you. I love you forever. I was like, oh, okay.
What did you guys think about that scene where she's trying to catch the train? She tells
Ugh.
him over the phone, and then all of a
Ugh.
sudden he's like, where are you? Like he's like trying to get there as fast as he can. And I was really worried for him because he was driving really fast on that ice. And I thought, where's this going? Is this going to be a car accident situation? And then I don't know. But
And then
like
he
didn't you
sees
feel like
the
that-
train. That's kind of what got me. And I know logic goes out the window, but this whole time she's had to tell him about the future and to tell him about this and that. He hasn't seen any of it, but he gets there in time to see the train go into the vortex of
Yeah,
time.
it's like, what? At least he saw the craziness that's happening, but he had to wait 10 years for this dinner date. Like, really?
They've done that before. There's another Hallmark movie where he like catches a scarf when she's on a merry-go-round and he has to wait 5 years. I don't remember what that one's called. But they've done that before.
Oh my God, I love what you just said so much. I had to wait 5 years for a scarf. Here's my thing with that whole scene. And it's kind of my beef with Hallmark and some of these Christmas movies is that I feel like they spend a lot of time on certain elements that they could probably wrap up. And then in the end, it's like all of a sudden they figure out, oh shoot, we have to end this now because we're almost at 2 hours.
Yes.
And so we're going to do this
Bam!
really fast. We tie up the loose ends as fast as we can. And then all of a sudden it's like, bam, we're in love and it's over. I just felt like that last scene with the train thing. And I thought, wow, you know, Doc Brown, he really wants her to find love and solve this whole thing, but he is not going to wait for her to like talk to Ben in person. She has to get on this train right now. He's not going to wait. And then I felt like they should have talked in person before she got on the train. I don't know. If someone called you on the phone, Danielle, and they were like, hey, in 10 years, meet me at this restaurant at midnight on Christmas Eve. Like, are you going to remember that? I was like, is he going to write this down? He's in the car. Like, how is he going to remember
And especially if they
He
had
could put
already
it in
been
his
like,
iPhone.
oh yeah, right, his flip phone, and hopefully evolved over time. I just the fact that if they were already dating, and again, logic out the window, yes, I get it, but it's just like, oh, they've already been dating, then he remembered this night out of all the, okay, that's nice. And I do, I mean, they do end up getting engaged, which I don't know if anybody, small details in this movie, the very, very last scene, we see Doc Brown sitting, getting his shoes shined, and he has a newspaper. Did anybody pay attention to what was on the newspaper?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay, yes.
We got it.
So it turns out that Tyler Grant also gets engaged, and it's on the newspaper. So happy endings for all.
Now, before we go, real quick, because there's animal lovers out there.
Oh,
How
yes.
cute was Boomer the dog?
I want to ask about him. He was cute,
How
but like,
cute was Boomer the dog?
was there a thing like that I missed, or just he was just there to be cute?
I think he was just there to be adorable.
He was so cute, but also imagine he's probably no longer living. So going back, seeing your dog at home, he must have been like a really old dog if he was still alive, like in 2021.
Yeah, because we never saw the hometown in 2021.
That's true.
So it's like cool. Like she shows up and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's Boomer." She probably hasn't seen him in a long time.
So I'll chalk it up to just adorableness, because they would cut scenes and he'd be following everybody around. I'm like, oh, cute. Wait, are you part of the mysticalness of this movie? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I just thought one of the cutest dogs ever.
And I think he is probably like not around anymore. That's why it's magical. That's
okay.
my personal take.
I appreciate that.
Should we get into our thoughts on this one? Like what we want to rate it as far as like, should we recommend it?
I am going to belly up to the bar and then watch this with some friends. It was good. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't eyes glued to the TV.
Yeah, I agree. It had a lot of great elements to it, but I feel like I've watched a Hallmark new film for the season that I liked better already. And I've only watched like 3.
Samantha, are you bellying up to the bar and watching this with friends too? Or
yeah,
you're gonna watch it while you're wrapping Christmas presents?
No, I'll belly up to the bar because I felt like I enjoyed the storyline. But I will say, if it didn't have the Back to the Future elements and it didn't have Christopher Lloyd and Leah Thompson, it would have been further down on the list for me.
Same. Yeah, I think it's nice to kind of like chat with others about it, because then you can be nostalgic about those references and talking through the defying logic out loud with other people. But I probably will only need to watch it once. I don't think I need to rewatch it.
That's a good point.
So Danielle, you're bellying up to the bar and watching it with friends too?
Yeah. Now, except we don't have drinks, but yes.
We should have drinks.
I want one of those holiday drinks they were drinking at the bar. Was it like a cranberry martini with like some rosemary?
It was a Cosmo with a sprig of rosemary in it.
Yeah, it looked delicious.
You remember that?
So they're having holiday drinks. That sounds nice.
I know we should be closing out, but I did want to point one thing we didn't talk about, which is the fact that our lead character had an atypical job, which was very refreshing. Being a doctor and had a specialization that was very atypical. I appreciated that. So moving in the right direction, Hallmark. Good job.
Way to go, Hallmark.
Yes, I love that.
Thank you for joining us for podcast in a Pear Tree.
Find us wherever you find your podcasts.
Click like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review.
Yes, please.